She was covered in oil, hair tied in a messy bun, fixing cars under the scorching sun for people who couldn't afford a proper garage. They called her Grease Girl. But when a billionaire CEO ridiculed her in front of a crowd, no one expected that the very next day, Ferrari's top engineers would fly down just to meet her. What happened in between? Stay with me, because this story will shake your soul. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, share with someone who needs hope today. Subscribe our channel Kindness Talks for more real-life inspired emotional stories. Jasmine Carter never planned to be a mechanic. In fact, she once dreamed of becoming a pilot. But life in the rough neighborhood of Eastwood taught her early that dreams came with bills, and bills didn't care about your plans. After her father's death in a factory explosion when she was just 15, Jasmine dropped out of school to help her mother raise her two younger brothers. Her hands got used to grease and wrenches, and her heart got used to rejection and being underestimated. But she never let it define her. Every morning, she set up her little street garage beside a rundown auto parts store. No fancy tools. No official license. Just her brain, raw skill, and a fire that could melt steel. She had fixed everything from rusted beaters to custom motorcycles. People came to her not because of her garage's look, but because she could fix what others had given up on. One Wednesday afternoon, the kind of day where the heat seems to boil time itself, a sleek, matte black Rolls-Royce Phantom purred its way to her corner. It was clearly out of place. The engine coughed oddly before it stopped altogether. A tall, sharply dressed man stepped out in polished Oxfords, eyes hidden behind dark aviators. That was Nolan Kingsley, billionaire CEO of Axion Motors, the largest car innovation company in the country. He looked around, clearly unimpressed. "You own this pit stop?" he asked, smirking. Jasmine didn't flinch. "No, sir. I run it." He laughed, genuinely amused. "And what will you do with a V12 compression issue? Offer it a prayer." A few people on the street snickered. Jasmine just walked over, squatted beside the car, and ran her fingers along the hood. "Give me 20 minutes. He looked at his gold Rolex. "Make it 15. Or I tow it." With no manual, no tools worth more than $20, and no assistance, Jasmine popped the hood, and like a pianist tuning a grand piano, listened to the engine's rhythm. Then she did what no Axion technician had dared to do. She adjusted the airflow control sensors and rerouted a miswired pressure valve using a bent coat hanger and a spark plug. 14 minutes later, the engine roared to life, smoother than it ever had. Nolan blinked. "What did you just do?" Jasmine wiped her hands. "I listened. Something you and your team clearly forgot how to do." But instead of appreciation, Nolan chuckled sarcastically. "You're clever. But let's be honest, fixing one engine doesn't make you a genius. It makes you lucky. Or maybe just a good guesser." Then, he tossed a $100 bill on her workbench and left. That night, Jasmine sat quietly on the curb, watching the stars. Her younger brother, Marcus, handed her a sandwich. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "I don't want their money. I want their respect." But fate, as it always does, was just getting started. By dawn the next morning, Jasmine had almost forgotten about the billionaire's insult. Her phone had 27 missed calls. She ignored them all, thinking it was spam, until a long red shadow fell across her workspace. Two men in black suits stood in front of a gleaming red Ferrari 812 Superfast. One of them had an Italian accent. "Are you Miss Jasmine Carter?" the man asked. She hesitated. "Yeah. Why?" "I'm Luca Ferrano, chief engineer at Ferrari's Innovation Lab. My colleague is Matteo Rossi, our AI diagnostics lead. Mr. Nolan Kingsley showed us your engine fix. We thought it was a prank until we ran simulations. You restructured a feedback loop in a way we've never seen before." Jasmine stared, stunned. Luca continued, "We'd like you to fly to Medina. Ferrari wants to consult you. Your method may revolutionize hybrid V engines. We also have an apology." Before she could respond, another car pulled up, a modified Axion prototype. Out came Nolan Kingsley himself. Gone was the arrogance. This time, he extended his hand. "I was wrong," he admitted. We ran your fix through 6 different AI models. You didn't guess. You created a new model of pressure calibration no one's documented yet. I mocked you. And you taught us a lesson worth millions. Jasmine looked at his hand, then at the Ferrari, then at her calloused palms. I'm not a genius, she said softly. I just listen to things nobody else wants to hear, including engines. And sometimes, people. That same evening, she boarded her first flight ever. Not as a passenger, but as a guest of honor. A week later, her story trended globally. Blackstreet mechanic shocks Ferrari engineers with homemade fix. She was invited to speak at engineering schools. Offered a full scholarship to MIT. Axion's board offered her a role as senior consultant for real-world vehicle behavior, a position they created just for her. But she never stopped fixing cars in her old neighborhood. Every Saturday, Jasmine returned to Eastwood, tools in hand, teaching kids how to build engines and rebuild confidence. Because she knew the truth. Respect isn't given by titles, money, or suits. It's earned under the hood, where nobody's watching when you choose to rise anyway.